My name is Farkunda. I am the only child of my parents. My father had been living in Qatar for a long time. He had got a very good job there. My father did not want to leave him under any circumstances. That is why I lived alone in the house with some servants. My father had also hired guards for my safety, that is why he was completely unconcerned about me. I myself was not a little girl, I was a young girl of 5 years old. I understood my good and bad. But they say that when a person is dominated by Satan, a person is ready to do anything. Something similar happened to me. Every morning I would go to the university and return by noon. That is how my life was going when one evening my friend Sonia brought a 40-year-old man to our house and asked me to keep him for a job. He is very forced. He wants to work under any circumstances. I told him that I already have many servants, you keep him for yourself. Sonia started saying that if she had as much money as I do, she would definitely have hired him, but she herself was poor, that's why she couldn't hire a servant. Sonia was from a middle-class family. I got into her story. Listening to Sonia, I felt a sense of sympathy from the very beginning. She wanted to help everyone on the way, while I didn't have any such passion. I was busy with my work. The man who came with Sonia was just sitting outside. Saya wanted to talk to me first, and when she told the story of this man's poverty and compulsion, I thoughtlessly told him, okay, since you're saying so much, I'm thinking of hiring him. Anyway, I needed a good man for small tasks, and Saya had told me that he was as hardworking as the youth, and for Sonia's sake, I called this man in. As soon as she fell asleep, I was stunned. That man was physically stronger than he was, and especially his face was very beautiful. I had never seen a man so handsome at such an age. When I saw him, I just stared at him. After answering some questions, I realized that he was very distinguished and educated. But he was not yet simple. Because he also had the responsibilities of his mother and sisters, he wanted to get all his sisters married first, and that is why he had not married himself yet. I told Sonia that it was okay, I will hire him. Apparently I did not see anything wrong in this person. She was happy to hear this and then spent some time with me and left. I sent this employee to the quarters with my maid and told him to start working from morning. Sonia had told me that this employee belongs to a village and is being pushed here by the city to meet the expenses of his family. Where did he meet Sonia, or what was his connection with Sonia? I did not know this. After Sonia left, I thought to myself that I would ask this employee in the morning how she was with Sonia. It was already night and I went to sleep in my room when my father called me. I started talking to him about coming back, but as always, my father said the same thing, that if he left work and came back, the system would not work. Abu always answered this way. While I wanted this house and money, I only wanted my father's company. I was very lonely in my life. I only had the support of friends, and if those friends did not meet me someday, I would start going crazy. Today, Sonia had come to my house after many days, but she had left after some time. It seemed as if she had come all the way here just for this employee's job, and this was a bit strange for me. I was a very good friend of Sonia and wanted to spend more time with her, but Sonia's mother did not allow her to leave the house unnecessarily. She used to come to my house with great difficulty, but I don't know how she had come today as an advocate for this employee. Sometimes I thought that if I had a mother, maybe my life would have been very good, but my mother had divorced my father a long time ago, and since then I have been alone here. My father left me with the trust of my grandmother and went to Qatar. I had forgiven her and left everyone here and went to Qatar and started a business there. Some time after his departure, my grandmother passed away, so I was left completely alone. My father did not allow me to return in any way. He did not want me here at all, and I had spent my whole life with servants in a feeling of deprivation. That is why whoever spoke to me with love, I would automatically fall in love with him. Even in the university, boys would take advantage of this feeling of deprivation and trap me in the trap of their love for my wealth and then leave me and go away. All these things had broken me badly. Even now, when I was sleeping, I was thinking that I do not know when my father will return, when will I have anyone in my life, and thinking all this, I fell asleep. When I woke up, the employee had finished his work. Like me, there were only female employees in the house in the morning, so I went out of the room in my night dress, which was very open. I went to the dining table and sat down. After breakfast, I had to get ready for the university when at that moment the employee came to me and greeted me and stood up. I was shocked when I saw him, and I remembered that I had called him in the morning. My appearance was quite different, that's why I was feeling a little embarrassed. But he was standing very politely. He didn't even look at me. I told him that he had some important work in the market that he had to handle, and then after I returned, he would have to do my small work. Sometimes I would forget my notes with a friend, so I had to order everything from the library. These were just a few tasks because apart from that, I had to do the employee's work. I had kept him in love with Sonia because of his need. The employee kept nodding his head at my command, and then I left for the university where I met Sonia, and she immediately started asking about the employee. I looked at Sonia in surprise and said, "Who do you think he is that you are so worried about him?" At my words, that frightened expression on her face seemed strange to her, and then she laughed and said, "My friend, I don't think he is anyone, I just brought him to you out of sympathy." We were both sitting and talking when Salman came and stood in front of me. The smile on his face was very poisonous to me. I thought that he was a boy and pretended to love me for the sake of wealth, and that he was having an affair with another girl behind my back. I myself caught him red-handed and slapped him on the face, but his brazenness was so extreme that every other day he would come and stand in front of me and his wounds of sorrow would start to freshen. Even now I looked away with hatred. He laughed and said, "You don't need to look away. No one likes to look at a girl like you. Why don't you understand that you are a very ugly and stupid girl, and no one can like a girl like you? You are just something to be thrown away after use," and I did the same. Salman, I don't know why, had become my enemy in a few days. Maybe he wanted to take revenge for the slap he used to give me. Before I could lose control of myself in anger, Sonia stopped me and told him to go away. After he left, I started crying with my head on Sonia's shoulder. She explained to me that you don't take the words of such people to heart. But I don't know why. I felt that Salman was right. So many boys had taken advantage of me. My wealth was like water, but no one had truly loved me. Maybe I was really ugly. I had returned home with a broken heart, and as soon as I got home, my eyes fell on this employee. He was standing outside my room. I was surprised to see him outside his room. When I asked, he seemed to be saying, "Madam, I am yours because all the work in the morning has been done and you had said that you will give me some work after you return." He opened the door of the room and called him inside. My heart was very worried. I wanted to talk to someone, and at that time that servant was in front of me, so I kept telling him what came to my mind. I also told him the pain of my loneliness, making him think that he has not even been in my family for 2 days. How can I trust him so much? It's just that when a person is in pain, he may not understand his own and others, but he tells his heart's condition. I did the same. After listening to my story from beginning to end, the servant said, "Madam, don't worry, I am with you. If you have any problem, you can tell me." Hearing this, a smile came to my face. This was the first time a man had spoken to me in such a soft and kind tone. Even my father was very kind to me. They used to talk to me harshly because I was stubborn about coming back to them, maybe that's why their tone could never be soft. After talking to the employee, not only did my heart's burden lighten, but I felt very good. And then after that day, the employee and I went out together. When I came back from the university, Nazir would stand outside the door of my room and I would talk to him for a long time. Gradually, I started telling him my routine. I trusted Nazir more than my friends. He had told me that he had sisters who needed money. I asked him to help, but he refused and did not take a single rupee from me. This surprised me a lot, but I did not know why he had done this. A week had passed since Nazir had been gone when one night his father called him and angrily asked him who he had hired in the house. When I told him about Nazir, he said, "How could I have hired a stranger in the house without his permission? What do I know about the people in the world? All the old employees are loyal, but I don't know who this employee is." I told him that he was a good person and was very worried, but my father said to fire him immediately. I tried to convince my father that there was nothing wrong with Nazir, but he didn't believe me and hung up the phone, saying that by the time he called tomorrow, Nazir would have left the house. I didn't understand how my father got this news. I had not told them anything about Nazir. I gathered all the old employees and made a fuss and then asked them one by one who had given this news to my father, and then the old maid who used to stay at home all the time and keep an eye on every little thing had given this news to me. I expressed my anger at her and said, "Who gave you the right to tell my father what I said?" She said that I am an old loyal employee here. I don't think anything is wrong with Nazir, that's why I felt it was necessary to tell the owner. I was shocked by what the maid said and I asked what Nazir had done that you find strange. She said, "Mistress, in your absence, that employee goes to your room and I don't know what he does there. Whenever I ask him, he doesn't answer me. Many times, I have seen him sneaking out of the quarters even at night. Where he goes at night and what he does, none of us know. The maid's words surprised me because Nazir never set foot in my room without my permission. I immediately called him, and when the 121 words were in front of him, tears came to his eyes and he started to take them. Mistress, you had asked me to bring some books from the library. I had gone to keep them. And as for leaving the quarters at night, I am so worried that I cannot sleep all night. The worries about my sister's marriages have disturbed my sleep. It has been a while since I left. I go out of the Navari bungalow, take a walk and then, I was so sure of his words that I scolded all the employees badly and wanted to keep Nazir with me. After listening to my words, the employee was very grateful to me and stood in front of me with folded hands. I quickly removed his hands and told him that don't worry, I will not throw you out of here. He was very happy after listening to me. The next day, when I went to the university, I told Sonia the whole story. After listening to me, she said, yes, you did well not to throw him out. He is a good person. I laughed at Sonia, who did not even know this person and was still praising him. Well, 2 or 3 days passed like this. My frankness and that of Nazir became more than before. I started telling her everything that was on my mind, and then one night when my father called, my father and I had a fight. My father said that he and Carrie would never come back because my mother had hurt them so much. My father was very sad about this. Why did he want to punish me for my bad mother's mistake? I wanted to cry on someone's chest, and in that moment, I thought of Nazir, who had gone to his quarters a while ago. I called him and called him to the room. My heart was beating badly. Without thinking, I felt like I was being exposed to a strange man. Maybe it was love, or maybe my heart was so shattered that I agreed to present myself to whoever came in front of me. I thought he was an older man, would act wisely, handle my emotions, support me emotionally and explain that I shouldn't be broken like this, but at that moment the ground gave way under my feet when he gave me a strong push and pointed his hand downwards and started telling me something. I, who was in a daze, immediately returned to my conscious world and started trying to understand what he was saying in surprise. He went near the table and suddenly pulled something out of there and placed it in front of me. It was a small camera that was installed under my table. I was stunned. I asked in anger what all this was. First, he broke the camera and then told me something that made me feel like I was going crazy. He folded his hands in front of me and said, "Your friend Sonia took advantage of my poverty and forced me to work at your house. This way, I will get a salary and a reward from Sonia for spying on you. This camera was also given to me by Sonia, which I had installed in your room, but when you told me everything from the beginning to the end, it became wax. I do not want to take advantage of any weak moment and become a part of a game in which you would be defamed or blackmailed for the rest of your life. I cannot get my sisters married with money that is earned by ruining someone. Sonia was jealous of your wealth. She got together with Salman. Salman wanted to take revenge for his slap, and the two of them together made this plan to put your honor at stake." Nazir's words surprised me. Both of them were well aware of the condition of my heart. Both of them knew my weakness and that I could lose my self-esteem by getting love, and they both wanted to take advantage of this fact and took advantage of his compulsions and forced him to install a camera in my room, and then when I ever got carried away with him, both of them took advantage of how bad the situation was that I was going through, but I had become afraid of God. He was a witness to my innocence, he knew that. I was certainly carried away by emotions, but I was not a bad character. The girl who spent years alone in the house, maybe her heart condition is like this. Her heart has changed. That is why she had not only broken that camera but also told me the truth about Sonia and Salman. He was crying badly, and while crying he was saying that he did all this for money, but today he has forgiven Nazir for what he did. I had done it, but my trust in relationships had gone. Not only Salman had betrayed me in the name of love, but Sonia, whom I considered my best friend, had also stabbed me in the back along with Salman, and I had blindly trusted Nazir, but somewhere or other he had betrayed me. I had given money for his sister's marriage and had also fired him from his job at home. I have no shortage of money, but I have a lot of shortage of relationships. There is no one in my life who loves me with all my heart and truth. Whenever I am in love, he betrays me. Is there no one in this world who can support a girl like me?